David Platt once shared that there is a unique grief that comes from preparing a place in your heart for a child that never comes. This quote captures the emotional pain many couples and individuals go through during infertility. This often gets looked as just a medical condition when it exceeds far more and goes into an emotional burden that causes anxiety, depression, grief, isolation, and relationship stress. I want to tell a story of Chrissy Teague, who openly shared her experiences with infertility, IVF, pregnancy loss, and the emotional challenges she faced. By sharing, she helped reduce stigma, encourage conversation about why mental health is important during infertility. Today we're going to learn Chrissy Teague's story and how infertility affected her mental health. We're also going to examine how infertility causes psychological trauma to couples and individuals hoping to become parents, and why mental health support is often inaccessible to them. I'm also going to ask that you help support the policy that the U.S. should cover mental health counseling for individuals and couples going through infertility. I want to begin with Chrissy Teague's story. Chrissy Teague and her husband, John Legend, were hoping to grow their family and expected it just to all happen naturally when they were hit with the struggles of infertility that affects millions of people. According to the World Health Organization, infertility affects approximately 1 in 6 people throughout their lifetime worldwide, making it both a common medical condition and emotional experience. Experiencing infertility, IVF, and suffering a miscarriage, Christina Teague struggled with grief, emotional pain, and anxiety. She did welcome a child through IVF, but she shared that the experience was emotionally exhausting and uncertain. In a September 30th, 2023 Instagram post announcing the loss of her son Jack, Christina Teague wrote, "We are shocked and in the kind of deep pain you only hear about, the kind of pain we've never felt before." Her willingness to share her personal experience showed the devastating emotional toll that infertility causes to mental health. Through sharing, Teague saw many others silently enduring the same emotional struggles of infertility. A clinical psychologist, Dr. Alice D. Dahmer and Alice Lesh Kelly, wrote a 2015 book called Conquering Infertility. Dr. Alice Dahmer's Mind-Body Guide to Enhancing Fertility and Coping with Infertility explains, infertility is a crisis that affects every aspect of a person's life. Their research shows that infertility can produce anxiety and depression comparable to those experienced by people coping with serious medical conditions. Teague openly discussed her experiences through interviews, books, and social media, helping to reduce the stigma around infertility, IVF, and pregnancy loss and mental health. By encouraging honest conversation about these topics, she inspired others to seek emotional support and reminded healthcare providers it's not just about the physical health, but the emotional well-being as well. Chrissy Teague's story is not unique. It reflects the experiences of millions of people throughout the U.S. Since it affects millions of people through the U.S., this often causes a significant and emotional distress throughout the IVF journey. From diagnosis to treatment to pregnancy loss to IVF failure to other challenges, many people experience anxiety, depression, isolation, and relationship stress. Mental health support is not consistently integrated into fertility treatment, so the access to that comes down to the insurance coverage and one's own personal finances. Because mental health is an essential part of overall health, infertility treatment should address both emotional and physical well-being. Understanding the emotional impact of infertility will help us recognize why mental health is so important during the fertility process. The U.S. should require insurance providers to cover mental health counseling for people and couples experiencing infertility. Infertility causes a significant psychological trauma for individuals and couples hoping to become parents. Infertility is more than a medical condition. K.L. Rooney and Dr. Alice D. Dahmer wrote in a 2018 article in the journal Dialogues in Clinical Neuroscience called The Relationship Between Stress and Infertility, explaining infertility is consistently associated with elevated levels of stress, anxiety, depression that can significantly affect an individual's well-being. Mental health counseling is often inaccessible because it's not consistently covered by insurance as part of infertility treatment. Many insurance plans focus on covering only the medical procedures while either getting rid of or limiting access to counseling, leaving many to do it alone and feel alone during those mental health struggles. Arthur L. Grail wrote a 1997 article called Infertility and Psychological Distress, a critical review of the literature. The article says that infertility frequently produces psychological distress that is often overlooked within the healthcare system. Providing mental health care counseling as part of fertility treatment improves the emotional well-being and helps patients cope with infertility, and integrating mental health professionals into fertility care gives people experiencing infertility healthy coping strategies during this time. Tara M. Conway and Dr. Alice Dahmer wrote a 2007 article called Psychological Impact of Infertility. In the article, they explain that the psychological counseling helps individuals cope with infertility and improves emotional well-being throughout the treatment. Brennan D. Peterson, Christopher R. Newton, and Karen H. Rosen wrote a 2003 study called Examining Congruence Between Partners' Perceived This showed that infertility-related stress in the study that it also affects both partners, showing the importance of counseling through fertility treatment. Because infertility affects both physical and emotional health, access to mental health access to mental health counseling should not depend on a person's insurance coverage or their own financial status. By recognizing infertility as both a medical and psychological challenge, we can ensure that people will receive the proper care and don't feel alone. David Platt's words are worth repeating. There is a unique grief that comes from preparing a place in your heart for a child that never comes. Grief's a reality for millions of people and couples experiencing infertility. Christina Teague's story reminds us that infertility affects more than just the physical health. It also profoundly impacts the mental health, because infertility introduces significant psychological trauma for individuals and couples hoping to become parents, and because mental health support is often inaccessible to them. The U.S. should cover mental health counseling for individuals and couples experiencing infertility. By making mental health counseling and a standard part of fertility care, we can ensure that no one has to face the emotional toll of infertility alone.